It's another day in paradise in lockdown, obviously. So, hat, t shirt, when we used to be allowed out of our house. Um, the thing today, and it's a teaching technique that I use to assess risk. And what I will talk about is the possibility and the probability. And to give you an example, I'll show you my front garden and the road. We live on a busy main road. Okay, it's an A road. Don't know if you could see that then, yeah. Okay. So if we're looking at the road, for instance, and we're driving down the road, um, what I will try and explain to my pupils, my students, my learner drivers, inexperienced drivers, is I prefer that because we're all learners in one way. It just means we're inexperienced. We don't know yet what it is that we need to know. And I'll ask the question: what is the possibility of driving down the road and a car pulls out in front of you from a side road? So, yeah, that's a possibility. What's the possibility of a spaceship landing on the road in front of us? Well, never say never. And that's a phrase that I've been using a lot recently for obvious reasons. But, and I would say never say never. You know, it is a possibility. You just never know. So then we move on and we say, right, what's the probability? So what's the probability that a car will pull out in front of us while we're driving down the road? And there is a good probability that we will come across that at some point while we're driving. So we've got to be ready for that. So we can put that as a high risk. What's the probability of a spaceship landing in front of us on the road? Never say never, but the probability is really low. And I apologise to all those people who have had spaceships and things landing in front of us, because I'm going to put the probability as really low, but you'll probably put it very high after your experiences. So it doesn't mean it'll never happen. It just means that on a normal daily basis, you're probably not going to find it. Okay. So what we can do then is tailor our response to the risk based on what we feel is going to cause us the most concern or the biggest problem, which is a car pulling out of a side road, and not necessarily the spaceship. Now, if we're driving carefully, as we do, so we proceed with caution, as it says in the manual, okay? So if we're driving down the road, then if a car pulls out in front of us, then we've already seen it well in advance and recognise the fact that this could happen. It is a possibility. And in some situations, you'll look at a car at the side road and you'll think, no, that is now a probability. So I'll be ready for that. I'll make sure I know what's behind, and I'll just start to ease back a little bit and make sure that if it does come out, I've got a plan for it. Now, if we're doing that for the car pulling out, then if a spaceship does land, we've probably got that under control as well. Put that into practice. So that's the thing about possibility and probability. Everything is possible. Anything is possible. The probability of it happening is a different kettle of fish. And the reason why I'm reminded of it today is if I'd have asked the question in, let's say, December, so Christmas, let's go with Christmas. What's the possibility that the Western world would be locked down because of a virus that's sweeping across the world, and society would basically be closed? And there'll be people saying, no, that'd never happen. Well, never say never. So yes, it's a possibility. What's the probability of it happening? Now, at Christmas, most of the population would probably have said, not a chance. Not a chance. Not in the UK, not in Britain. We're British, we don't fall for that. And so it'd have to be something really serious before we get locked down. So the probability at Christmas time was actually pretty much zero. And there's always a risk. Everything has a risk attached to it. But never say never. So looking back, what we've done is we've assessed the risk and thought, well, okay, we can assess that risk as it comes over, but there's no need to close society. But now we have. So in this world of never say never, when you're driving along, when you do get out of lockdown, I know a lot of people are coming out now, when you're driving down the road, don't be surprised if a spaceship lands in front of you while you're driving down the road, because although It's probably not going to happen. There is every possibility that it could.